is, what are we going to do with all that horsepower? What are we going to do with 1 teraflops inside a little mobile processor? Surely you don't need it for phones. Surely you don't need it for phones. It turns out that we believe the future car is going to pack an enormous amount of computational capability. In fact, we believe that your future cars will be the most advanced computers in the world. Sensors all around it, rich displays all around it. There will be more computing horsepower inside a car than anything that you currently own today. Now, we imagine these displays to replace a lot of the current capabilities inside your car. You're going to have, of course, wonderful displays for digital cockpits, infotainment systems. But don't forget, your mirrors could become a smart display, a smart mirror. Your side mirrors could become smart mirrors. Your A columns, those pillars all around your car, could become curved displays so you could see through your car. Rear seat entertainment. Almost everything inside your car can benefit from a digital or touch display, a rich display. We imagine the number of displays inside your car to grow very, very rapidly. In fact, leaders in this industry believes that over the next several years, the number of displays inside your car is going to grow exponentially. The resolution, the combined resolution inside your car is going to grow like nothing you've seen. Now, the reason for that is because of this. We've all become quite accustomed to rich displays. And rich displays are benefiting from the explosive growth of mobile devices, so that these displays have become more and more commoditized. What is a state-of-the-art car today with just 1 megapixel, over the next several years, will grow astoundingly to 10, 15, 20 megapixels. The number of displays inside your car will continue to grow. So the second announcement that we're making today is a brand new computing platform. This new computing platform is called the Drive CX. Let me tell you what a Drive CX is, but let me show it to you. This is the Drive CX. This is the most advanced digital cockpit computer in the world. It is powered by the Tegra X1. Has the ability to process 16.6 megapixels, the equivalent of 2 4K displays at 60 hertz, or 4 full HD displays. One single computer. This single computer could run multiple virtual machines. So each one of these display units that can be isolated from each other. We support every major operating system in the world, QNX, Linux, as well as Android. Of course, it is powered by Maxwell, a pixel processing monster, and it includes this really, really incredible suite of software we call the Drive Studio. Now, the reason for that is because there's so much technology inside this processor. How does a designer, how does a creative artist ultimately get access to all of that horsepower? And so we've created incredible tools around it that I'd love to show you now. Now, the Drive CX is going to take computer graphics to a whole new level. Of course, one of the things that's really great about beautiful computer graphics is just it looks wonderful when you see it. So when you take a look at the mapping system, infotainment system, today's infotainment system looks a little bit like a cartoon. In the future, of course, we could do all kinds of wonderful things. We could render Tron-like maps if we like. The digital dashboard, the digital cockpit, can be completely reimagined with all kinds of rich materials. So ladies and gentlemen, let's show it to you now. Okay, so what we're showing to you right now, do you have it on the screen? Can you guys see that? Okay, so before we demonstrate it to you, let's show it to you. This is driven by Drive CX, the infotainment system, and the digital cockpit, the digital virtual cockpit, completely unified into one computer. It could be one operating system driving both. It could be two operating systems, driving each one of them. It's your choice. Any operating system is supported that I mentioned. And so why don't we introduce, come on up, Justin. This is Justin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Justin.
The head of our design studio. He's going to show us some really amazing stuff. Okay, Justin, what are you going to show us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, this is our digital cockpit environment here, and based on Drive CX, of course. And this is not just a demo here. This is really a platform for integration for our ecosystem partners to bring them together and layer over top Nvidia technologies, graphics, power, elements like that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about a bit is the infotainment system here. We have a wide range of capabilities that we've integrated in elements from the ecosystem.
I just want to make sure that, by the way,
describe that.
Can we up his audio a little bit? I don't know that you guys...
Too quiet?
Yeah, I think you're a little bit too quiet.
Okay.
So one of the things that Justin said that's really important is that what you're looking at, the runtime, is a rendering engine. Just as there's a runtime for games we call Unreal Engine, there's a runtime here for your digital cockpit. And that runtime is called Studio. That runtime has all kinds of advanced rendering technologies, whether it's dynamic lighting, high dynamic range. We're going to show you some amazing technology related to material rendering. All of that technology is shrink-wrapped into a way so that designers who are good at designing cars don't have to understand computer graphics technology and still access all of the amazing horsepower that's underneath. All of that is encapsulated into this design suite of software we call Design Studio.
That's right.
Justin and his team develops the tools, but they also advise and work with our partners to translate their vision of what their next generation infotainment system would look like, their vision for what a digital cockpit of the future looks like, into something that they can, of course, deploy. Okay? Go ahead, Justin.
That's exactly right. And this really represents a reference that we build off of and integrate with customers. So, as I mentioned, elements like media integration, text-to-speech, voice control, navigation, all of these areas are actually included inside.
Now, this is a fully functioning
infotainment
system.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Let's take a look at it.
And under development, always expanding and continuing to create. So very simple screen here. Climate control for the vehicle, sort of out of the box. Very simple display here. Again, we've got media integration, allows you to control the volume and play from FM or play from your local music here. But we can also, for example, decide to split the screen and place navigation on top and have media playing in the bottom. So you have full control over where you'd like to place various information. Of course, as displays get larger and they drive more and more pixels, you're going to want to be able to control the entire layout.
Now, this navigation system is completely done in 3D, right? And one of the things that's really cool about it, most maps that we see is so congested with so much information that it distracts from the actual navigation itself. And so what we're actually doing here, what Justin has here, is a complete 3D geometry environment. However, the space right around the car is lit dynamically.
That's right.
And so for many people who know about this technology, not only is it lit dynamically, but there's ambient occlusion, there's global illumination, so that what looks like a Tron experience is realized here.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we've done this, we've not just created these incredible graphics. We've selected a city where there's beautiful buildings and things like that, but we're actually integrated with a partner named TCS, where we're going out to their servers and doing live routing. So, for example, I can select maybe to go to this location. It'll dynamically actually create the route for you as expected. It's not just a graphics demo here. And we can go to full screen and really enjoy the beautiful graphics. Zoom in a bit.
Oh, that is so smooth.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Of course, we're using a wide variety of technologies, like you mentioned, not only traditional 3D models, but also advanced GPU-rendered vectors, ambient occlusion, as you mentioned. But all of this, again, is available via Drive Studio for the artist to make this map look like anything you might want. We've chosen a very specific motif here, but people can change it to whatever they might
Okay,
like.
show us a few more things. What do you have?
Okay, yeah. Another one of interest is, let's see, we can maybe put the music in the bottom. We have integrated in Android automotive projected mode here. So we can see this is actually full Android, certified in the car. So for example, we could have Google Maps located here. Oh, I think it's navigating someplace.
So in a way, you're kind of seeing today's map versus what I just saw earlier.
Sure.
Tomorrow's map.
Yeah, gives you the options to do everything. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the infotainment system.
Okay.
One last thing I wanted to point out was we, of course, have support for a surround view camera for bringing all these together. And I think we'll be talking more and more about this.
And so the video stream would come in, and we would, and I'll talk a little bit more about surround in just a moment.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So
all right, check it out.
Leave it on navigation there. The other part of a digital cockpit, of course, is the cluster. And we've spoken a lot more about clusters in the past than we have about infotainment systems. It's definitely an area that we continue to invest in because it's the jewelry of the car. It's a place where we can use all of our graphics prowess. So what we're seeing here and up on the main screen here is really a vision of sort of that integration of infotainment with cluster capabilities. So you can see there's navigation, rich 3D navigation, turn-by-turn experience with gauges that are using physically based rendering. So
now, of course, Justin, this is your fantasy of a digital cockpit. But the point is that the studio is a creative platform that allows designers to realize their vision of what a future digital cockpit could do.
Yeah.
Now here you're showing examples of a virtual cockpit that has geometry in it, rich geometry. A lot of very sophisticated rendering effects so that the subtlety of the materials come out, the subtlety of the glass, the subtlety of lighting comes out, and it's all completely dynamic. It's all completely in real time.
Yes.
Why don't you show us a few of the features?
Well, as you see, that's being driven up on the screen from somebody else here, is you can see that the dynamic lighting is actually changing with shadows being cast, true cube map shadows being placed across the gauges with the lighting moving at the same time, integrating in the navigation. So one thing I think is really important, the point that you made, was that we can customize this to look like other things. It doesn't just have to look like this. In this case, we've got physically based aluminum being represented here, but I think it's interesting to explore what's possible in terms of materials.
And so the design team of any car company could import their geometry. They could, whatever geometry they would like to use, and we could render it completely in real time.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned, to convey the subtlety and the exquisite nature and the artistry and the craftsmanship of a car, the ability to render materials is really important. But yet, rendering materials is complicated. What carbon fiber looks like, or what car paint looks like, or what aluminum looks like, or brushed copper looks like. These materials have very specific reflectivity and responses to light. And so one of the things that you wanted to show us is how we deal with that very, very advanced way of doing material rendering.
Yeah, and I think your point is well made, that I think materials, we see them every day, so we don't realize how complex they are to simulate on the GPU. So one thing we've done here, now this is all powered by Drive Studio, but it's a very simple and fun example of how we can explore materials, because gauges and clusters look very different given different materials. So we actually have real physical swatches here. So this is bamboo, and we've got a wide variety here. Powder coat, this one is incredibly heavy. Car paint. Car paint is amazing because it has so many layers on it, suspended metal flecks that have to be simulated. The light passes down and refracts through here and bends out in very incredible ways. One of the most incredible ones,
subsurface scattering.
Yeah, one of the most interesting ones is carbon fiber, which actually has anisotropic properties, which means depends on what direction you look at it, it'll actually look very, very different to the viewer. So these cannot be represented just by pictures. They have to be simulated, they have to be computed. So in our little laboratory here, what we can do is we can take a particular material And maybe if we can show
Let's go back to
the gauge up on our screen here. Yeah, that one. So I can move this gauge here. Again, very, very high quality, well rendered. And I can take bamboo, and I can place it here, and the gauge transforms and takes on that material.
That's pretty cool, right, guys? Now, the important thing is to recognize that the lighting over the surface of the bamboo really conveys the subtlety of the bamboo. And so whether it's the soft shadows or the reflectivity of the bamboo and the subtlety of the grain, you can really get a sense that it's bamboo. Now, of course, we're using bamboo here because it's fun. It's a fun material to play with. But the important thing is that almost any material that car designers can think of that they would like to use to create their digital dashboard could be realized.
So this is porcelain. I'll just go through a few of these so people can see what they look like. Maybe the aluminum. We had this on earlier on the gauges in the cluster itself.
Now this is really finely polished aluminum. We could, of course, add much coarser brushed aluminum to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Or hammered aluminum, all kinds of wide variety. The paint I mentioned before comes on here, and we can look at that. And we can also do things like change the lighting itself. So, for example, if we wanted blue lighting, and we can dial it down, maybe have a dimmer switch in the car that gives more or less lighting associated with that.
And so this would be something that you would do in different drive modes, for example, the electric mode or the sports mode of the car.
Yeah, change the color. And then I think the last one that's fun to end on here, I'll make it red because I love it in red. And you can see the depth of the carbon fiber here. As I mentioned, this is not just any picture here. This is actually simulating the light passing through a clear coat with refraction, being transferred through those carbon fibers, and the light is being simulated.
And now you guys have to imagine what is actually happening here. It's not just one decal that's being placed on top of a geometry. These are mathematical equations that are computed of following the nature of light and imagining how, computing how it would reflect and refract and even penetrate the surface of the gloss, bouncing around underneath in the layers of paint, and then scattering outward. Okay, all of these computation are being done on our GPU, and then, of course, being displayed in real time. And the thing that's really cool is everybody could have a slightly different mode.
That's right.
I could get into a car, and it notices it's me in the car because of maybe something, my keychain or something like that.
Or recognizes your face.
My face, right, exactly. And then all of a sudden it changes the nature of the environment inside.
Absolutely, yes.
It really brings a lot of customization and joy. All right, fantastic.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Good job, Justin.
Bye-bye.
So that's Drive CX, the most advanced digital cockpit in the world. We don't offer just the chip, but the entire reference platform and the BSP, all of the system software, all of the middleware, the rendering real time, all the way up to the creative tools that are necessary to connect the vision of a car company all the way down to the horsepower that's inside the Tegra X1. End-to-end platform all the way from processor to software. The Nvidia Design Studio. The car of the future is, of course, built upon great technology that's being innovated today. Today's state-of-the-art technology includes what is called ADAS, driver